Hello, and thank you for clicking on this video. I'm Alex, I'm the Devil's Advocate. We talk about movies, music, TV, video games, whatever I want on this channel. Today we're talking about Peacemaker, Season 2.
We doing it up in style.
Hey guys, I got beer. On?
Duh.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Just hand it to him.
I'll just hand it to him.
Okay, so Peacemaker Season 2 is here, finally. Follow-up to Season 1. Also a follow-up to Superman and James Gunn's big, new, bright, shiny DC universe. They did something very interesting in the very beginning of this show. We're going to get into spoilers, but right now it's non-spoilers. So, overall, it's a good start to Season 2. And I'm excited to see where it goes. We're going to do a follow-up review at the end of the season, talk about the whole season after it comes out. So, initial thoughts, this is fun. It reminds me of Season 1. Oh yeah, we're doing, like, gross out humor and sex talk, and this is definitely a rated R show. Despite seeing Superman and some of the characters in there showing up here, they are much more foul-mouthed here, and it's fun. It's fun. And we also get the heartful character moments that we did in Season 1. Even here in the cold open, we're kind of seeing where everyone's at, like a year or so later, nebulous time later, that everyone's not doing well. They saved the world, but now what? And no one knows they saved the world. And now a new director's in charge of the team they were on. The team has been disbanded. There's a new director of the agency where the team was under. Yes. And the new director hates the team because the team got his son killed. The director being Rick Flag Sr. and his son, Rick Flag Jr., who died in the Suicide Squad movie. To Peacemaker himself. That's non-spoilers out of the way, I guess. Again, if you're very sensitive to spoilers, come back, watch this video after you've seen the first episode that dropped. But if not, we're going to get into the full episode right now. I'm not going to, totally recap the entire thing, but I'm going to hit some of the highlights here. So in the beginning, in the cold open, like I said, we see where everyone's been at. And I think they do something interesting here, because they kind of do a last time on Season 1 to remind everybody what happened. It's been a couple years since Season 1 came out, so I was happy for that. I needed a little refreshing as well. But they changed a couple things. There's a shot and a scene, I think maybe in the last episode or second to last episode of Season 1, where the Justice League shows up, and you see only the outlines of the characters, the silhouettes of the characters, but here they've changed who the characters are. Back then it was Superman, Cyborg, Flash, and Aquaman, and now it's Mr. Terrific, I think Superman, new Superman, David Cornsweat Superman instead of Henry Cavill Superman, and Green Lantern and Hawkgirl, and maybe Supergirl is also a silhouette. But they, in Season 1, they went and pushed in on a shot of Flash and Aquaman because Peacemaker had been saying all season that Aquaman fucks fish, and Aquaman's like, that guy says I fuck fish. And then in the recap, we see him mentioning that Green Lantern made him puke because he caught him with a green magic carpet, and that Green Lantern has a puke fetish. And then we see him walk past Green Lantern and Hawkgirl, and he says to Hawkgirl, I don't have a puke fetish. That guy says I had a puke fetish. So if you want to look at this metatextually, maybe we're doing the universe has already changed under your nose, and we're having false memories. But then we go into the episode, and a lot of what has to do here in this first episode is Peacemaker's pocket dimension that he has, right? He had that in Season 1. His father had it. his KKK racist piece of shit Nazi father, who he killed, has it. You know, it's an interdimensional, like, crossroads. So we see creatures coming out of doors and going into other doors, and they're just like, hey, how you doing? You know, like, good morning. I'm having my coffee. As we're kind of crossing paths here. But then he finds another set of Peacemaker helmets in this dimensional pocket, and he's like, well, what's this door? And he opens that door, and he goes into a big mansion, and he sees his father there, and his father's like, hey, man, you sleepwalking again? And he runs back out, closes it in panic, like, oh, my God. It's a universe where my dad's still alive. What's going on? What's going on? So then we cut to the opening credits, which are fantastic. Peacemaker Season 1 had a big dance routine for opening credits. Here we're back with an even bigger, more complicated dance routine with more characters. It's very fun and hilarious. But then we get back into the show, and, you know, I'm going to go through a couple of these characters here and let you know where they are. So Jennifer Holland, James Gunn's wife, plays Agent Amelia Harcourt. She gets diagnosed with toxic masculinity and is not accepted into the NSA, CIA, like any government agency. She says it's because she's being blacklisted by Amanda Waller. I think so. Even though they offhandedly mentioned that Waller is going through congressional testimonies. But she still has the pull to stop her from getting a job. So she's like she's going to a biker bar and getting beat up, starting a fight to get beat up so that she can feel something, right? Very, very like action hero-esque. Leota Adebayo, played by Danielle Brooks, who's Amanda Waller's daughter, is trying to start her own security firm. She's living at a hotel, still hanging out with Christopher Smith, Peacemaker. But they're seemingly the only two who are still in contact with each other. We see Adrian, the vigilante, working at a restaurant and constantly calling John Economist, played by Steve Agee, who's still working for Argus or Checkmate. They're both, you know, kind of interchangeable at this point. And his job is to stake out and watch over Peacemaker. Now, this is because of Rick Flag Sr. being in charge. Where's Rick Flag Sr.? Here we go. Frank Grillo. And he's in charge, and he still wants to keep an eye on Peacemaker because Peacemaker killed his son. Now, he thinks he's wasting government resources. Chris isn't a threat. But they got a ping a year ago. That's what's been a year. It's been a year since he pinged the pocket dimension. And then 6 months later has passed. So I guess it's been 6 months. It's been a year maybe since the events of season 1. And then 6 months since the cold open of the show. Okay. We got our timeline, folks. Then, so he's watching out for him because he's like, yo, this energy signature that we got is similar to the one that happened in Metropolis with Lex Luthor. Bringing in the Superman story into here. Very cool. Love to see it. Rick Flag, meanwhile, is at, you know, Argus headquarters, and he's talking to Chris. He's like, or to John. He's like, what's going on? He's like, well, there's an orgy happening here. He's like, well, is he part of the orgy? And he's taking pictures of, like, him opening the door. Now, I'm jumping around here, but it's towards the end. But he's opening the door to that portal. And he put it together. And he goes, oh, my God, this is the ping. But he's on the phone. He's like, yeah, he's in the orgy. Don't worry about it. It's his normal behavior. John Economist goes to Leota and is like, what do I do? Because if I give this to Argus, Chris is fucked. And I don't want to totally fuck over him because, like, he's not exactly a friend, but he's a good guy. She's like, okay, well, we got to go investigate. We got to go talk to him. And he kind of wants her to go talk to him for him, and she agrees. Because if he goes, he's like, I might be being watched. If I go talk to him, I'm definitely going to get fired. Or worse. So that's the setup there for the rest of the season. Is she's gonna go find out what's going on with this weird magic door that he took a picture of through the window. Sasha Bordeaux is in the Argus headquarters with Rick Flag Sr. as well. That's a character from the comics. She is very much involved with Argus. That's kind of what she does. She's a super spy, kind of set up to take over his job because they feel he's like too focused on his son's murder. That's where I think this is going to go. That Rick Flag Sr. is going to eventually either be ousted or quit in pursuit of Peacemaker, and Sasha's going to take over. And maybe Waller will come back as well. But yeah, that's kind of the setup. Like, everyone's kind of chilling, not happy, right? Everyone wants to get the team back together, and I'm sure we're going to over the course of the season. But really, Peacemaker is faced with the reality that he found a universe where his father is still alive, and despite his father being a racist bigot, he still misses him. Like, that's a human thing. He goes to join for tryouts at the Justice Gang, and Max Lord is there, which is great, played by Sean Gunn, his brother, and Green Lantern and Hawkgirl are there, cracking jokes. It's a funny scene where, like, they don't realize that the mic in the two-way mirror is actually off. When they think it's off, they're talking shit about whoever they're interviewing, and then and then Peacemaker calls them out on that, and they're like, oh my god, has this been happening all day? Is that why the bunny woman was crying? I said she had a camel toe about 30 times. I must have said it about 30 times. And we saw White Rabbit coming out of there, which is a Batman villain, very obscure character, but funny looking. So yeah, why not put her in there? Trying out for the Justice Gang. So Peacemaker wants to be in the Justice Gang. He feels bad that they made fun of him. Leota is driving him back to his house from that. And he's like, you know what? I don't want to join this stupid team anyway. I got better shit going on. But he really doesn't. He's really depressed. Him and Hardcourt, he's trying to date Hardcourt. He was interested. Apparently they had some rendezvous on a boat, a little off screen. And she was like, that's a mistake. And she goes to get beat up at the biker bar. And he goes home to have an orgy party. And I like that we don't shy away from his bisexuality. He's into guys and girls, and he keeps stating it, and he keeps acting on it. So it's front and center in this show. And then he, being drunk and high, he decides, I'm going back in that pocket dimension. I'm going back in that universe. And he goes into the universe where his father's still alive. He realizes his brother is still alive. And, if you remember from season 1, he killed his brother as a child at the behest of his dad. He wanted them to fist fight each other to get tough. He did, and accidentally killed his brother. And that's why his father hated him his whole life, despite still making his tech and stuff. But in this universe, he didn't kill him. They're both still alive. They're all working together as like a superhero team. They didn't reveal it yet if they're actually like super racist still in this universe. But he's a blue dragon instead of a red dragon, and they're a superhero trio that go fight. Like the top trio beats this character. Top trio beats Ultra Humanite, which nice little Easter egg there. He basically is getting his wish, like a wish that most people don't get, is to say I love you to people who died in your family, and they love him back. So he's kind of like, oh my god, this is great, maybe I could take some more hits of this. And he's trying to go back to his own universe, and this universe's Peacemaker shows up, and he's like, who the fuck are you? And so they start fighting, and they go into the dimensional pocket, and just trying to survive, he pushes like his logo, which hits the other Peacemaker's jetpack, into a giant ceiling spike and kills Peacemaker from that other universe by accident. So now he's like, I've killed my own brother, and now I've killed my family's brother in me in another universe. So that makes me think he's going to go and try to pretend to be that version of Peacemaker and live out that life, at least so that they aren't missing their brother. Now, of course, this is a setup for a good dramatic plot, and comedic plot. So we're gonna see how this show goes forward. Again, like I said, I'll come back at the end of the season and review the whole show. I don't think I'm doing this week to week, but if it's good enough, I might. And later on in this year, we got The Boys, so that's coming out next week. Sabrina Carpenter has an album, and I'm gonna review that. So, folks, there's lots of stuff on the channel. I'd suggest watch Peacemaker if you haven't. If you skipped season 1, you don't need to watch it. You can watch the recap here in season 2. Again, I'm interested if they're actually going to address the changes in the flashback, or just leave that as like, we're just erasing it. Like, the DCEU didn't happen. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about the fact that Harley Quinn and a lot of other characters are in the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker season 1 and referenced, and some actors are going to change. Because, like, I'm looking at this IMDb, and Michael Rooker is playing another character. And Michael Rooker was in Suicide Squad as someone who dies early. I don't remember exactly his character name. But he was already in the DC universe. I mean, we're getting Lobo in Supergirl, and that's being played by Jason Momoa. So it doesn't matter that he was Aquaman again. But again, I wonder if we're going to get even a throwaway line of like, yeah, the universe changed while we weren't looking, under our noses. And this is kind of referenced in, not Infinite Crisis, Infinite Frontier, a book, where they kind of try to look at the human cost of multiversal changes, of universe reboots, and people being like, did I have a wife and kids? Like, I woke up today and I don't have a wife and kids, but I feel like I had a wife and kids. Or waking up with a family and going like, I thought I lived alone. Like, was my life retconned? It's not only the Flash and Superman and like big names whose lives get retconned. It's regular people in the universe whose lives get retconned. So I like taking a look at, like, because it's so much multiverse stuff, right? Spider-Man, Superman, like the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe is doing multiverse stuff. I'm excited to see a multiverse story told from the perspective of an on-the-ground human being. Yes, Peacemaker, a superhero, but a real person with real feelings and emotions going, oh my God, this is a universe where my father and brother didn't die. And we're happy. And I just killed my version of them, or their version of me. So I'm going to go pretend to be him. There's some good shit here. There's some good shit here for a dramatic story. So I'm very excited to see where it goes. Again, I got other reviews on my channel. Thank you very much for watching this, and have a nice day.